We have been told that we are lazy, that we lack discipline, that we are the cause of our own stagnation. But is that the truth? Or is it a story sold to us by a society addicted to overwork, efficiency, and constant motion? Let us sit with the silence. Breathe. Look around. Observe this world not as consumers, but as philosophers. We live in a time where rest is rebellion, where slowing down is a sin, where your worth is measured in output, not wisdom, not peace, not inner stillness, only output. This is the burnout society, and you are not its failure. You are its victim. Yet this is not an excuse. This is a revelation. Because once you see the chains, you can begin to break them. The Stoics never denied the pain of existence. They looked it in the eye and said, "Let me master it." So we must begin not by blaming, not by complaining, but by understanding deeply, fearlessly, and with the fire of reason. You are not lazy, you are exhausted, and you are not alone. Part 2. The machine that consumes the soul. Seneca once told, "If a man knows not to which port he sails, no wind is favorable." Look at the modern man, waking up not by sunrise, but by screens, not driven by purpose, but deadlines, not called to wisdom, but dragged by algorithms. He is no longer living, he is functioning. He eats at his desk, he scrolls in his bed, he never thinks, only reacts, and he tells himself, "I am lazy, I must push harder." But the Stoics would say, "No, you have been pulled too far away from your nature." In Burnout Society, Korean-German philosopher Byung-Chul Han writes, "Fatigue today does not come from the suppression of freedom, but from the compulsion to be free. We are prisoners of our own optimization. We are no longer enslaved by chains. We are enslaved by expectations. To do more, be more, optimize, monetize, hustle, grow, scale, compete. But at what cost? The soul is not a machine. The soul is a flame. It needs stillness, space, meaning. The Stoics knew this. Marcus Aurelius, an emperor surrounded by chaos, wrote in his journal, "People look for retreats for themselves in the country, by the sea, in the hills, and you too are much given to this yearning. But this is entirely the mark of a base soul, when you are able to retreat into yourself whenever you choose. The greatest refuge is within. But modern society has robbed you of that refuge. Your mind is bombarded, your body is drained, your spirit is confused, and then they blame you. No, you are not the disease, you are the symptom, but you can still become the cure." Part 3. The myth of endless productivity. We waste it not on leisure, but on labor without soul. We waste our time not because we are idle, but because we are busy with the wrong things. And this busyness has become our identity. We say, "I must do more." But the Stoic asks, "Must you?" True Stoicism is not passive. It is not an excuse to withdraw. It is the art of choosing the essential and discarding the rest. In a society obsessed with more, the Stoic dares to choose less. Less distraction, less ambition without virtue, less stimulation, less noise. Because the mind that is always running never arrives. We are not lazy, we are overloaded. Our systems have crashed, our soul has gone offline. But when you slow down, when you reclaim even one moment of silence, the fire returns. That fire is Logos, the rational soul, the divine spark the Stoics revered. And once that fire burns again, there is no task too hard, there is no burden too heavy, because it is you who has returned, not the worker, not the cog in the wheel, but the master of your own mind.
Part 4. The emotional exhaustion no one talks about. Epictetus said, "The greater the difficulty, the more glory in surmounting it." But what if the difficulty is not visible? What if the greatest weight is the one pressing down on the soul quietly, constantly, without leaving a mark? This is not physical exhaustion. This is emotional erosion, and it is everywhere. You feel it when you wake up tired after 8 hours of sleep. You feel it when you can't focus for more than a few seconds. You feel it when the simplest task, sending an email, folding your clothes, stepping outside, feels like an unbearable climb. You ask yourself, why can't I just do it? And the voice inside says, because you're lazy. No. The true voice of reason says, you are not broken. You are emotionally depleted. The burnout society doesn't just tire your body, it hijacks your nervous system. It floods you with stimulation. It rewires your expectations, and it starves you of meaning. The Stoics knew that emotional regulation is not a luxury, it is survival. Marcus Aurelius did not face burnout in the digital sense, but he faced the chaos of war, plague, betrayal, and loss. Yet he wrote, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it." He trained himself to become untouchable, not by escaping difficulty, but by mastering his reaction to it. In a burnout society, the war is internal, and the soldier must train in silence. We must begin again to notice our emotional states, not to suppress them, but to understand them. Are you truly tired, or are you overstimulated? Are you unmotivated, or are you numb? Are you disinterested in life, or are you overloaded with meaningless tasks? Answer these questions, then act accordingly. Part 5. Mental slavery in the age of infinite choice. They told us we are free to choose, free to express, free to be anything. But in reality, we are drowning in choices, most of which are engineered to distract, addict, and sell. You open your phone for one notification and lose 2 hours. You scroll endlessly through curated lives. You chase the next dopamine hit while your deeper self withers. This is not freedom. This is mental slavery wrapped in convenience. And it breeds burnout, not just because it steals your time, but because it scatters your will. In Stoic philosophy, the most sacred possession is your prohoresis, your power to choose your response, your focus, your inner disposition. It is the seat of your sovereignty. Yet we have handed that over to machines, to systems, to trends. The Stoic does not reject technology, but he does not serve it. To reclaim yourself, you must learn to say no. No to infinite scrolling. No to the pressure of instant replies. No to comparison. No to noise. Because every no you speak outwardly becomes a yes to your soul. And when you master that, when you reclaim your will from the systems that feed on it, then you are no longer tired.
You are awakened, not from rest, but from alignment.
Part 6. Dopamine is the new tyrant. Marcus Aurelius once told, "Very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking." What the Stoics understood without modern science, we now understand with it. The mind is shaped by repetition. And in the burnout society, you are being trained not for virtue, but for consumption. Dopamine, the chemical of anticipation, has become your ruler. Short videos, endless feeds, clickbait, bright colors, sounds, notifications, everything is designed to exploit the same mechanism the Stoics trained to discipline. The result? You can no longer focus. Not because you are lazy, but because your brain has been rewired for novelty, not depth. Seneca said, "To be everywhere is to be nowhere." You've been everywhere. Now you must return to somewhere. To stillness, to one task, one breath, one moment. You must take your mind back from the dopamine tyrant, not by hating pleasure, but by replacing it with meaning. Start by fasting from the things that weaken your will. One day without social media. 1 hour of pure silence. One task done with full attention. These are not punishments, they are training. And every moment of resistance, every craving you overcome makes you stronger. Not just mentally, but spiritually. You are not a slave to your cravings, you are their master. That is the Stoic way. Part 7. The difference between Stoic discipline and toxic hustle. Discipline has become corrupted. In the burnout society, discipline is sold as overwork, sleepless nights, 5 a.m. alarms, hustle culture. But that is not Stoicism. That is self-destruction. True discipline is not loud. It is not for display. It is quiet, consistent, and personal. It is waking up not to compete, but to align. It is saying no, not just to laziness, but to distractions in disguise. It is conserving your energy, not for vanity, but for virtue. Seneca wrote, "He who is everywhere is nowhere." The disciplined man is not everywhere. He is where he chooses to be, fully. The hustle society wants you burnt out because you're easier to manipulate when you're tired. But Stoicism teaches you to guard your energy like a warrior guards his sword. Spend it only on what matters. Ask yourself every morning, what will I give my mind to today? And answer it, not with numbers, not with noise, but with intention. Then move through the day like a Stoic, steady, unshaken, unfazed. That is not laziness. That is control. Part 8. Real rest versus digital sedation. The world says rest is scrolling, binge-watching, tapping, checking, numbing. But true rest is not escape. It is restoration. The burnout society has blurred the line between rest and sedation. It offers you comfort that weakens, distractions that drain, pleasure that robs you of peace. You sit on your bed, phone in hand, thinking you are resting, but you are only feeding the machine. Ask yourself, after your, quote, rest, do you feel restored? No, then it wasn't rest. It was sedation. Stoic rest is sacred. It is the art of becoming whole again. Not by stimulation, but by stillness. Marcus Aurelius would retreat into himself, not into pleasure, into philosophy. He wrote not to entertain, but to cleanse his soul. Nowhere can man find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in his own soul. We must learn this again. Put the phone down, turn the screen off, go for a walk, stare at the sky. Write down what you fear, what you love, what you are pretending not to see. This is not laziness. This is realignment. You do not need more entertainment. You need deeper presence. And the more you rest like this, intentionally, purely, the stronger you become.
Part 9. Euthymia, the forgotten virtue of inner calm. Have you noticed how loud the world is? Everyone tells you what you should do, what you should want, who you should be. But in all this noise, you forget your own voice. And that voice, that quiet whisper, is the voice of Euthymia. It is the Stoic word for inner calm, for self-belief, for the state of being rooted deeply in your own direction. You don't need to be the fastest. You don't need to be the loudest. You only need to walk your path with integrity. The burnout society wants you to compare, to chase, to compete. But Stoicism teaches you to stay still, not in action, but focus. You're not lost, you're distracted. Euthymia is the remedy. Each time you scroll past someone else's perfect life, remember, they are not your standard. Virtue is. Ask yourself, not am I ahead, but am I aligned? Am I living according to nature, according to truth, according to my principles? Because when you are, you do not burn out. You burn steady, like a lamp in a storm. Part 10. Live today as if it were your last. Burnout often comes from the illusion of endless time. We act as if we have infinite tomorrows. So we overwork, overcommit, overconsume, postponing peace for some mythical future. But what if there is no later? The Stoics meditated daily on death, not to be morbid, but to awaken. Memento mori, remember, you must die. This is not fear, this is fuel. If you truly lived as if today were your last, would you spend it aimlessly? Would you waste it on people who drain you? Would you break your body to please a system that forgets you? Or would you breathe deeper, speak more honestly, love more fiercely, act with more intention? This is not a fantasy. This is reality. You don't know how many days remain. So burn brightly, but do not burn out. Act with urgency, not panic. With fire, not frenzy. With devotion, not distraction. The Stoic lives not recklessly, but fully. And when you live like this, even death loses its sting, because you lived.
Part 11. Build a fortress within, the final stand against burnout. Now you understand. You are not lazy. You are overwhelmed, overstimulated, overscheduled, and undernourished, spiritually, mentally, emotionally. You are the casualty of a society that glorifies exhaustion and punishes rest. But you don't have to stay here. The Stoic doesn't wait for the world to change. He changes himself. And that change begins within. You must build a fortress, not of walls, but of will. Not of isolation, but of independence. Not of pride, but of principle. That fortress is built each time you wake with purpose, not panic. Say no to distractions. Choose virtue over vanity. Practice stillness amidst noise. Speak truth when it's easier to stay silent. Rest not in laziness, but in awareness. Focus on what you can control and let the rest pass like clouds in the sky. This is how you become unburnable. Not because you work less, not because you hide, but because your fire comes from within, steady, disciplined, and divine. As Epictetus said, don't explain your philosophy, embody it. We are not here to preach, We are here to live. We will no longer chase approval. We will no longer run from discomfort. We will no longer collapse under pressure. We will walk with stillness. We will carry our fire with grace. We will face each storm with eyes wide open, because we are not lazy. We are becoming free. And from that freedom, we rise, not in exhaustion, but in excellence. So, guys, if this message resonated with your soul, if you saw yourself in these words, then you are already awakening. Do not let this just be another video. Let this be a turning point. Comment below, "I am not lazy. I am reclaiming my life." And subscribe to walk the Stoic path together. Because in a world that tries to burn us out, we are choosing to burn within.